Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Tonight we're going to continue our look at Two-Fisted Tales. We're up to number 6, and at this point, Two-Fisted Tales fully becomes a war comic. The side thing here that once said He-Man Adventure now says War and Fighting Men, and I think it'll continue like that almost to the end of the comic. Every single comic in here is a war comic. No more tales of piracy or, crazy adventure. Just war. And that's not a bad thing because Harvey Kurtzman is amazing at doing that stuff. Speaking of which, another beautiful, striking cover from Harvey Kurtzman. I noticed that Harvey Kurtzman even, most of his art, it's pretty simple. It's not like he's wowing you with his illustrative prowess. They're so beautifully designed, and he colored his own covers. So the combination, like I've seen Harvey Kurtzman's color roughs, and they're these rough little crazy things, but they're beautiful, almost like some abstract expressionist painting. But I noticed that Harvey Kurtzman's covers, like if you cross your eyes and blur your vision, they're just so perfectly composed. They look good, almost like some weird abstract painting. But yeah, this is such a simple cover, just guys in a Jeep, but I just think it looks phenomenal. I mean, also one of the best logos ever. The whole thing looks great to me. Once again, Harvey Kurtzman writes every story in here, and we start off with Death Stand. Once again, Jack Davis taking the lead. Harvey Kurtzman must have been really pleased with his work. So this is a tale of the Korean War. We meet this guy named Joe Hill. And Joe Hill's been in the military for a while. He's got a kind of relaxed attitude about the whole business of war. He's telling this young kid here. He says, it's like I say, when a bullet's got your name on it, ain't nothing you can do. When your number's up, you can't do anything. So it's not worth worrying about. So, And right then, the platoon notice an American jet going down. One of the engines is on fire. We see the pilot parachute from the crashing jet. They say, okay, guys, get in the Jeeps. We're going to go help that guy out. Now, I keep saying this in these Two-Fisted Tales, especially the first, 6 issues. It's like, yeah, this shit looks great. It's going to get way better. We're not fully into the EC golden age. Amazingly good stuff. But as the years progressed, all of these EC artists, they'd be looking over the shoulder of the other ones, and they were all trying to top each other. So they just kept rising to new levels of excellence. And so within 3 issues of Jack Davis joining the roster, I mean, it looked great, his first story. But this is more like the legendary Jack Davis that we all know. This is some amazingly good stuff. And you can understand why Harvey Kurtzman loved his war, the way he illustrated his war comics, because he's so good at war comics. He didn't really do much after EC. He pretty much focused on comedy for the rest of his career. But he's so good at it. So the platoon drives up to this pilot. The pilot's injured. Now, look at this here. I love this thing he does. I don't think he did this in the first 2 issues, or at least I didn't notice it. He almost has this, not 3D effect, but it does give this amazing sense of depth where the characters in the background are just pure outlines and monocolored and monochromatic. And then, fully illustrated foreground characters. It looks really neat. It has this great effect. And of course, everything's impeccably drawn. It's just in Jack Davis's great style, which, makes it even better. So the pilot says, guys, be careful. I think I heard something. I think the enemy's on their way. And right then, one of their Jeeps is blown up by this tank, North Korean tank. They run for cover. And they decide they gotta get out of there. They got 1 Jeep. So 10 men get on 1 Jeep. I love this drawing here. Every available space of the vehicle is covered by a soldier's ass. One of the guys falls off, hurts himself, and Joe says, guys, this isn't going to work. There's just not enough room in that Jeep. I'm staying behind. Get back in the Jeep. Give me all your grenades. I'll hold the tank off as long as I can. The young kid says, no, don't do it, Joe. Of course, Joe says his line again. It's a Harvey Kurtzman love to repeat stuff. Really hammer it home. And so the Jeep drives off. Now, the Jeep has got to travel across this whole zigzaggy road all the way up to the top of this mountain, which basically means it's going to be a sitting duck for the tank. And Joe knows this. Joe's like, I got to figure out a way to take out this tank before they start firing at my buddies. He's waiting in this drainage ditch. He can't really see where the tank is. And then all of a sudden he realizes it's right on top of him. And it's already firing on his buddies. I love the sequence of panels here. We see the tank fire. And we see in the distance, they're zeroing in on the target. So it's like very, very interesting rhythm. Well, just a very staccato rhythm, just like tank. What they're shooting at, tank, what they're shooting at. Finally, the tank hits it. The Jeep falls into some ditch or some ravine. Joe's like, they're not going to get away with that. They got my buddies. They're going to pay. So he runs up to the Jeep. Then they opened up the turret because, they killed the Jeep. They're in victory. And Joe throws a bunch of grenades down there. And I love this three panels here. One of the tank commander, he's trying to not, escape. And Joe's just bashing at his head with this hand grenade. He's like, get back in there. And take this hand grenade with you while you're at it. And this one, he throws even more hand grenades in, shuts the turret closed, and runs away, killing all of these tank soldiers. He runs back to where the Jeep got hit, and it turns out the only one still alive is the young kid who he's been talking to, most of the comic. Everyone's dead except for him, and the kid is actually dying. And he's like, take it easy, kid. We're gonna take care of you. I'm gonna tie up your wounds. And the kid says, Joe Hill, of all the guys, you're the only one left, and we all thought you were a goner for sure. It's like you say, Joe, when your number's up, ain't nothing you can do about it. And he dies in his arms. As Joe walks off, sadly walks off, Harvey Kurtzman writes, you never can tell when that will be, when, your number will be up. And that goes for this whole human race. Might be in an armchair or in an atom bomb blast. So he ends it with a heady thought about how, it's not just a war. That philosophy serves us all well. You just never know when you're going to get hit by a truck. So speaking of artists who came in amazingly strong, but there was more to come. It was going to get even better. This is what I've been talking about, guys. Wally Wood. So now he's been in every issue, 6 issues. The first one was damn great. But I kept saying, no matter how good this looks, he's going to get even better in the next year and probably next 3 years. And, all these artists blossoming at DC. And here we go, guys. Old Soldiers Never Die. This is insanely good artwork. This is why people revere Wally Wood to this day. We start off in World War I. We're in the trenches. We see a German plane flying above no man's land. Look at this horrifying vision. This is like a Graham Ingalls comic. This is like a pure horror. Seeing all of these dead soldiers. Well, they're just skeletons now. I love this as a rat crawling out of this guy's eye socket. Oh man, it's brutal, but it's so densely drawn. It's so funny just how Wally Wood in his later years became known as the master of shortcuts and basically, fuck these editors. They always rip us off, so I'm not going to give them... I'm going to do the least amount of work I can. His stuff always looked pretty damn good, but much simpler. But he's still young and hungry here, and man, he's pouring so much work into every panel on this. Look at this with this. He's starting to use all this craft tint. This is just amazing, just craftsmanship, but just beautiful illustrations. So the main characters in here are these American soldiers. It's August 1918. This young guy notices that the English soldiers always sing this song, "Old Soldiers Never Die," and he asks this guy Pappy Davidson, a more experienced soldier. He says, "What does that mean?" Look, even this Pappy is petting this cat, and even that is amazing. This is just so good. His artwork is like luscious. This young guy, Pappy, calls Caruso, I guess because he's always singing. And he says, "Well, I'll tell you, Caruso, it's all an experience." Now, I'll give you an example. Listen to this. And another German plane comes up, prowling for American, Allied soldiers. So he tells Caruso, he says, "It's this kind of plane, cover your face and freeze." These other young soldiers who don't know any better, they run, they cut and run. And look at this amazing panel. The German plane just mows them down like a lawnmower through grass. That's just like brutal. Here's some of that craft tint. I mean, the art is so good anyway, but then he's doing all this extra work that makes it look even amazing, even better. So we realize that Pappy, he just, he survived this long. He's picked up some things. He knows all these little things about warfare that keep him alive, and by proxy, this guy Caruso, because he hangs out with them. So now it's September 1918. The American forces are grinding forward. And now we see another example of Pappy's knowledge. The Germans start firing artillery, and he says, "Get out of that foxhole. We gotta find another one." Oh my God, guys, it's hard to talk about this story because every panel is so good. I love these sound effects panels with Ben Oda lettering. So nice. And he says, "How'd you know that they were going to hit our foxhole?" This guy, I got a feeling for this stuff. So I guess Caruso was injured. He says, "I guess the war's over for me, Pappy." And so now it's October. The Allies are doing better. They're marching towards Germany. And Caruso comes back. I guess his wound wasn't very serious at all. And Pappy greets him. And of course, "Old Soldiers Never Die" is being sung in the background. So now they got to go over the top again, once more, into the maw. So Pappy already has a sense. He's like, "Guys, put on your masks. It's going to be gas." And this is amazing. Just, the clouds of gas, which give Wally Wood a chance to show off even more with his, craft tint, amazing techniques to show that they're in this fog, this gas fog. One of the guys panics and rips off his mask. He says, "I can't breathe in this thing." He just dies horribly, coughing his guts out. Now it's November, and we see Pappy sitting in this bombed out house, picking the lice out of his long johns. Caruso runs in. He says, "Pappy, you're not going to believe this. I just got an order from headquarters. At 11 o'clock tonight, armistice has been signed. The war was over at 11. And Pappy's like, well, it's not 11 yet. Get away from that door. And when she says that, a bullet flies through. But, he's so happy. Caruso can't even think about, his own safety. He's just like, hey, I got this bottle of wine. We're going to celebrate at 11. He almost gets killed again. And this is actually an artillery shell, blows up like where he was standing. Look at this is so great, this panel with just the red, the yellow. It really gives you the feeling of like an explosion. It's pretty powerful. And so he picks himself off the ground. He's like, oh, they almost broke my bottle of wine. I better shut the door. It's about 11, Pappy. Come on, half a minute to go. And he says, Pappy, come on. Quit picking the lice out of this shirt. And when he grabs Pappy's shoulder, he falls over. And he says, Pappy, he's dead. A shell splinter right between the eyes. And of course, right then, a guy says, come on out. The war's over. And then we see this kind of weird, just black and white, lots of crafted. We see these, we hear someone singing, old soldiers never die, never die, never die. Oh man, these stories are getting bleak. But this is so different than any war comic at the time. Harvey Kurtzman was really, really hitting it home that, war is fucking terrible. I know that sounds blatant, obvious, but in war comics, you would never guess. It's very gung-ho. Hooray. Hooray for our side. The other side's pure evil. Here we have the letter pages. We have the little page of, contributions from readers. And now we have Kill. Everything by Harvey Kurtzman, except for the lettering. So, we're back in the Korean War. And we're introduced to this one guy, and we see him sharpening his knife. His name's Abner, and he's just a hard case. Someone kind of gives him grief for always sharpening his knife. He throws it right near his head, and he says, the reason why I'm sharpening this knife is so it slides in nice and easy when I stab some, North Korean soldier. I'm going to slice him like a herring. I'm going to rip and tear that no good motherfucker. That's what I'm going to do. So he's obviously he's just kind of, he's not serving his country. He's a psycho. He can't wait to kill people. I really like this too, how Harvey Kurtzman draws more and more abstractly to show his mental state. So his soldiers notice this. They're like, oh man, that guy's knife happy. He's not well. So the other soldiers look up in the sky. They see all these jets flying. They're American jets. And they're bombing the hell of the North Koreans. So now we switch over to the other side of the enemy lines. And we see this Korean soldier. And he's polishing his gun. His name's Lee. And two soldiers over there are giving him shit. They're like, the Americans are right almost here, and you're still field stripping your submachine gun? He's all like, he actually has this thing. The soldiers say, come, Lee, that gun is not your wife. Do not give it all your affection. And Lee says, it is true. The gun is not my wife. But how like a woman it is. Like a woman, my gun needs constant attention, tender care, and careful grooming to work at its best. And like a woman, my small, smooth, well-designed gun can deliver a sting that all men fear. Yes, the gun is my wife. So he's obviously Abner's counterpart. He just really just wants to kill an American very badly. Right then, their sergeant says, on your feet, soldiers. The enemy's coming. And Lee runs out in glee. He's thrilled. He's finally gonna get to kill an American. And he comes up upon you. I mean, you knew this was you knew exactly where this was heading, right? He comes upon Abner, and he's filled with joy. He's like, finally, I'm gonna kill some big, ugly American. He shoots twice into Abner's gut. Man, look at this crazy abstract art almost. It's like, well, not abstract, but, so stylized. It's crazy that this flew in like a 1950s comic. Even though Abner shot twice in the gut, he grabs Lee's gun, pulls out his knife, and even though he's dying, he's relishing the moment. It's what he's waited for. He stabs Lee. And then he stumbles off. Look how cartoony, like this is like almost like Christmas layouts, This is really loose. Very effective though. And none of the medics can see him. He's a little too low from their sight line of vision. He's on this hill. He's like yelling out for the medics, just saying, I'm dying, I'm dying. And then he falls back down the hill, dead, right next to Lee. And look at this amazing last panel, where his body is all twisted from falling down the hill. It's just weird looking, really, but I mean, great. And so Harvey Kurtzman's getting more preachy in these. Here's one he basically says, did you know why you sharpened your knife, Abner? Did you know this would happen? While you polished your gun, Lee, did you know you were creating death? Regard no man's life cheaper than your own. Respect and cherish life. And then truly, thou shalt not kill. I'm sorry, I totally forgot to, the story's called Kill, but that was just the last word of the line where Harvey Kurtzman says, what's the matter with man? Why is he always at war with his fellow man? Where is the fifth commandment that thou shalt not kill? So now we have Dogfight with art by Severin and Elder. This is a sharp-looking comic, man. Severin and Elder, you could cut glass with their art. It's so sharp. So now we're back in 1942. We're in the Pacific Theater. Americans aren't doing so good. They're fighting island to island, fighting for time, after Pearl Harbor. And we meet this guy, Jacob Strange. He's an American pilot. And he's an ace. His numbers keep swelling. His downed enemies. He's just a cold, efficient killing machine. Like I always talk about, I love these silent panels, no word balloons. We see he takes down a Mitsubishi Zero Japanese plane. We see the pilot just fall dead. His parachute doesn't have time to open her. He comes back to base. We find out that, we kind of look in his head. And Jacob's not afraid of anything. He doesn't care if he lives or dies. Because his girlfriend back home stopped writing him letters. And she's basically broke up with him. And he just doesn't care about living anyway. He's got nothing to live for. He gets back to base. One of the guys ribs him about oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, Jacob pulls this little stunt. He kind of flies his plane really low over a bunch of these soldiers. I just to be silly, I guess, or just whatever, let off some steam. And this guy says, who are you trying to impress, buzzing the beach like that? No wonder you don't get letters. Boy, you're unpopular. And Jacob just slugs the guy. Another airman says, hey man, you should have known that would happen. Don't you know what's up with him? Him and his girlfriend got in an argument through the mail, and she just stopped writing him and just cut him off. And ever since then, Jacob's got no buddies, doesn't talk to anyone. So the next day, they get the call in, man your planes, guys. And everyone runs out to their planes, including Jacob, of course. He was here, Harvey Kurtzman's research, just talking about all the things the pilot has to do and the mechanic on the ground to get the planes going. And then, of course, right as he's about to leave, someone runs out and says, Captain Strange, the mail clerk has a whole stack of mail for you. Seems there was some snafu with the postal service. He's like, hold it for me. I'll be right back. It's like, some of these stories are so obvious. It's like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. And so they fly off. They get some really high altitude, and they just start waiting and looking. And they find a whole squadron of Zeros, Japanese planes. They descend upon them like hawks, and Jacob gets another kill. He destroys a whole bomber. But of course, bombers always have fighters. So these Mitsubishi Zeros start attacking Jacob and his men. Turns into a full-on dogfight. I love that, just the chaos of this is like planes going at every angle. And remember, they're going at 600 miles an hour? So the fight's over. Back at the airbase. All the pilots have returned except for Jacob. And one of the guys says, well, if he doesn't get back soon, he won't ever. It's clouding over. It's really closing in. And the field's totally closed in. It's completely just fog out there. And then all of a sudden they hear the radio. They hear Jacob's voice. Ace of Spades to Teeter Tower. Do you read me? Over. They're talking to him, but apparently his receiver's broken. So he keeps just repeating himself. Ace of Spades to Teeter Tower. They're like, he can't hear us. And on the ground, his sergeant waits with a pile of letters from Catherine, Captain Strange's girl. Around him, all the other personnel crane their necks upward, hoping to hear the sound of Jacob's engines. And they finally do, and they hear the engines fly out to sea. He just couldn't find his way home, so ends up sadly dying. He's just ran out of gas over the ocean. So this one's just like a bummer. It's just like, oh man, you're just trying to depress us, Harvey Kurtzman. What are you, Lars von Trier or something? But it's like, I love this little story. It's pretty damn good. Good little character piece. And of course, that really super sharp Severin Elder art. It's almost a little too sharp for me and straight. I mean, after seeing the amazing stylized artists we just saw, those 3 stories, this almost looks like kind of dull in comparison, even though it's flawlessly illustrated. And that's it, guys, for Tales. I'm sorry, Two-Fisted Tales, number 6. Oh, man, I'm so excited about the next issue just to see, wait, it's going to get even better than this? Is that possible? So I think that's going to keep happening, guys. We're still in 1950, I don't know, 1? Maybe we're into 1952 in Two-Fisted Tales. There's still 2 or 3 years left, and all these guys just keep getting better. So thanks for watching. Hope you had a good time watching this video, and I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.